Gatcombe, home to Princess Anne, the most extraordinary natural amphitheatre for the best of equestrian sport. The Event Rider Masters, Leg 5. We are past halfway in this epic series. Points are still to be played for, and the scene is set for an epic, gritty battle.
Welcome to the Event Rider Masters 2017. Now in its second year, this is the ultimate eventing series, spanning 7 events in 7 iconic locations across Britain and Europe, culminating at Blenheim Palace, where the series champion will be crowned. As the competition for the series title really begins to heat up, the 5th leg sees the Event Rider Masters return to UK turf, heading to Gatcombe Park in Gloucestershire for the Festival of British Eventing. Competition will be fast and furious as 33 of the world's very best international horses and riders from 14 different nations will be battling it out over the next 2 days for a podium spot and precious series points. This stellar field of eventing superstars and Olympic heroes will be showcasing the finest in equestrianism and tested to their limits across the 3 classic eventing disciplines. From the style and grace of dressage, to the precision and accuracy of show jumping, to the power and adrenaline of cross-country, in their quest for eventing's ultimate prize. This is the Event Rider Masters.
Welcome to Gatcombe Park. The Festival of British Eventing plays host to the 5th leg of the Event Rider Masters series, and we welcome a top-class field forward that features 4 former leg winners. As always, there is an exceptionally strong international challenge, but an experienced British field will be looking to use the home advantage. It is jumping day here, the crowds are building, the tension is mounting, and we have some incredible competition ahead of us. Wherever in the world you are joining us from, we're very, very pleased to have you with us because we have got so much in store. We know it's not going to be a dressage competition. Joining me in the studio for the show jumping phase is Australian international event rider Sam Griffiths, and from Equirating Sam Watson as well. We can't wait to get your insight on the jumping, but first, it is not just us in the studio. Let's go and say a very good morning to Alice Plunkett.
Yeah, good morning everyone. Good morning, Nicole. This is where it happens. I'm right in the heart of the action in the show jumping arena, and you can really get a feel of the undulations here at Gatcombe, not only on the cross country, but here in the show jumping ring, and they are so influential. It's a prediction, 2 clear rounds. The time is tight. Di Body, who we're going to be speaking to in just a minute, who's our course designer, has to put a really tough test. It's maximum height, 1.30 m, and we've got such hot competition. 5 nations in the top 7. We've got 4 former leg winners in the top 12, and 1 fence separates the top 8. There is all to go for.
Well, there certainly is all to go for. There's going to be a lot of leaderboard shuffle on the jumping phase. But let's take a look at just how the dressage unfolded here, leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters yesterday.
Leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters at Gatcombe Park, and the race for the series title has reached a critical stage. In the opening dressage phase, it was 2016 title winner Oliver Townend who was first to go sub 40 with a solid performance on Noteworthy, clocking a 38.7. This was then the score to beat, but as the world's best tried and failed to topple him, the British rider's lead looked more and more secure. Brazilian Olympian and 7th on the series leaderboard, Marcio Cavallo-Schorsch was the first to really threaten, with the combination clocking up a 40 penalty score to secure 3rd on the overnight leaderboard. Bill Levitt and Shannondale Titan were the only other duo to impress the judges enough to award a sub 40 score. Their 39.2 meant they fell just short of Oliver, and the reigning champion took the overnight podium lead.
Very pleased with him. The Event Rider Masters is, the biggest step forwards in our sport. I love competing in it, and hopefully now the results will start coming in.
With just one pole separating the top 8 riders and 3 former Event Rider Masters leg winners in the top 6, this competition is wide open as we look forward to the show jumping here at leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters.
Well, let's take a look at that leaderboard. This is how things stand after the dressage phase. Oliver Townend, a winner here 12 months ago. He currently sits at the top of the leaderboard with Noteworthy. But 5 nations in the top 7. Alex Fatian, Don Gennaro, winners at Bramham last year. They sit very handily placed on 41.9. A little bit further down in the top 20, Gemma Tattersall, Arctic Soul, all about the series points for her, 44.5, and Arctic Soul, a machine across the country. Matthew Heath, Cooley, Lord Lux, a new ride for him this year, but well placed on 50.5, ahead of last year's podium finisher, Elizabeth Power, Solodoon, 50.8. They were the biggest climbers in the Event Rider Masters series last year. They'll be looking to do the same in 2017. Well, the dressage yesterday, let's just take a moment to reflect on that, because Equa Ratings gave us a prediction of 2 to go sub 40. Sam, and you got it right.
Yeah, we love when we're right, Nicole. It was it was a good day of dressage yesterday, but the scores are very tight, and we've said about Gatcombe that the thing is the jumping phases are so influential. With the top 8 within 4 penalties, 1 show jump, 10 seconds on the cross country. Today it's just going to move about so much, and looking at the jumpers in the field and some of the faster horses in the field, they're not actually in the top 10, so they're all gonna, the likes of Arctic Soul, the likes of Solodoon, they're going to climb today, and it's going to be fascinating. A lot of change,
and it is not just the leg, because obviously we're going to crown our leg 5 champion, but it is about the series, because we are at a crucial point in the Event Rider Masters series, and there are a lot of key contenders.
Leg 5 in the 2017 Event Rider Masters Series has reached its most defining point of the season. With just 3 legs remaining and the riders' top 4 results counting towards their series score, this is where leaderboard points really start to count.
This is the turning point in the series. This is where the riders who want to win this Event Rider Masters Series, they're turning for home now. We know that this weekend, someone could emerge from the pack.
British rider Gemma Tattersall currently leads the series after finishing top of the podium at leg 1 in Chatsworth and 4th last time out at Jardine.
Time here is really tight. Arctic Soul is a full thoroughbred horse and he is super fast.
After great results at Barbary Castle and Jardine, Kiwi rider Tim Price returns to leg 5, looking to make his mark on the Event Rider Masters leaderboard.
It's there for the taking in a way. I think you've got to have the right horse for the job, but then you've just got to go hard on all 3 phases and pull it off. The recipe's as simple as that.
Reigning Event Rider Masters Series champion Oliver Townend currently sits in 15th overall. But it wasn't until this time last year at Gatcombe that his 2016 campaign really started.
This is the turning point in the ERM series for the season. Now it's time to really start and knuckle down and try and get the ERM points.
Who will have what it takes to rise to the top in the battle for the coveted Event Rider Masters title?
Well, let's take a look at that series leaderboard. This is how things stand after 4 legs in the 2017 series. Gemma Tattersall, Sarah Cohen, the British ladies out in front, all to play for them this weekend. But looking to make a climb, Sir Mark Todd, Marcio George, Tim Price, Victoria Panitson. Well, Shane Rose for Australia, he comes forward. CP qualified a very strong hand, as does Oliver Townend, our dressage leader here. So the series, we know it is going to shuffle this afternoon. We know that we could well have a new leader at the end of today. Who will it be? Will it still be Gemma Tattersall? Will Sarah Cohen take up to the top spot? Watch this space. But tension is building. We're about 5 minutes away from the start of the show jumping. Let's go down to Alice.
Yeah, welcome back to the main arena, and I'm joined by 3 of the main protagonists for this afternoon. Let's start off with Sarah Cohen. Wiesbaden fresh in all of our minds. You're sitting 2nd in the series. Dye Body's built a serious track.
Yeah, it's quite meaty out there. There's some decisions to make on the distances, and it's up to height, and it's on the canva here. It's going to be tough.
I know you don't like giving advice, Mark, but you have been in this ring so many times before. What makes it so difficult?
Well, as Sarah said, I think it's the up and down here. But this year, the fences just come at you really quick and fast. So, and it'll be interesting to see with the time. If they made the time tight, it could make it really exciting.
Does yesterday's rain have any effect? What's the footing like?
Well, they've sort of worked on the arena a bit by the look of it, but it could end up being a little bit sticky, but at the moment it looks okay.
Oliver, we've got 3 fences separating the top 23, 2 the top 14, 1 the top 8. A time fall as well is going to be influential, isn't it?
Yeah, and die body always measures tight here. The show jumping's always been influential in the past, and I don't think it's going to be any different this year.
It's a place you love. It's a place you love to be competitive at. You are the reigning champion. Does that put pressure, or do you come in with this with just a fresh mind?
No, I absolutely love the place, as you've said, and I enjoy every moment of riding here. I've had ups and downs, obviously, as you always do, but I just love the atmosphere, and it's the best one-day event for me in the country.
Is it a place that Noteworthy can shine?
He's shone here before. He won the Intermediate Championships 2 years ago, but whether he'll do it this time, fingers crossed.
Listen, team, safe and good luck.
Thank you.
Well, let's take a look at the running order, reverse order, show jumping, and this is going to mean excitement to the very end. Sam, some equa ratings ones to watch.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good jumpers coming quite early on in this field. Paul Sims, Calidor, Sileto H and Ben Hobday, they are 2 to watch. The best jumper in the field for us, Toledo de Cursor, 16 internationals in his career, and he's only ever had 1 fence down. That came in a CCI 3-star at Bramham. He actually went on to win that event, but he's never had a rail down in a CIC 3-star. And Izzy Taylor, she managed to jump a clear round last year. She's got Perfect Stranger. And coming towards the end of the leaderboard, it's going to be about Oliver Townend and Noteworthy trying to hold on to that position, because they have had a couple of show jumps in their last few runs in this phase. So they'll have to try and limit the damage if they can.
And last year at Gatcombe, it was really influential, the show jumping, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, only 4 clears. Oliver produced one of them with Killen Brad Nevo, who'd be a very good show jumper. Izzy Taylor produced one with Briarland's Matilda. I think she could do that again this year with Perfect Stranger. He's a very good show jumper as well. But it does take its toll. And Sam, you've jumped in the arena. It's a difficult one to jump in.
You know, it's a really tough arena to jump in. You never quite get the impression of how undulating it is in that arena. And the other thing that's a big factor is you can never quite get the warm-up you'd like, because you warm up literally on the side of a hill before you come into that main arena. And so you need a really skilled horse and a skilled rider to pull out the best here.
Well, we can't wait to see how the show jumping unfolds. The lady in charge of it is Di Body, and she's talking to Alice.
Yeah, Di Body joins me now. Di, you've got the riders jittery.
Aye, really. I don't know what to say, really. It's a masters class, and we've hopefully given them the best comes to the top, hopefully.
Well, you certainly made sure that will happen. Talk us just through what your philosophy was behind this course.
With the terrain, the ring is unique, so you have to be very careful, but to try and use it, I've done longer distances, obviously, on the downhills and various things, and trying to weave them around the arena. Coming round to the treble combination will be interesting to see if anyone does take the option, because it's a good turn, but it's rideable.
What do you think the time difference is between the 2 options?
I think it's about 3 seconds. It's 13 metres, so it's 2 to 3 seconds. So.
And how tight have you wheeled this time?
Fairly tight. Normal.
Okay, so time is influential and it's up to height.
Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Di, you're a star. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Well, the time is always influential in the Event Rider Masters classes. Sam, you've walked the course. You've ridden in the arena, as Sam has said. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, you know, I think time is going to be a real issue. There's not that many places on the course where you think you could ride it tight or quicker. And so I think that the people that make the time will have to ride quite up-tempo. you know, and the course, I mean, it comes thick and fast. I mean, right from the first 3 or 4 fences, you need to be very accurate. I think they'll need to start with a really strong canter to make the time, because like I said, there's not that many places where you can shave the corners or go a bit quicker. So time will be really tough.
And sometimes you pay the penalty when you're pushing for that time and you have a rail. Sam, an Echo Ratings prediction of how many clears?
We think we might actually have 1 less than last year, so we're predicting probably only 3 clears. Di Body, she gave a great interview there. I think she's the sweet assassin. She's just got such a smiley face, but you know she's built a tough course. Again, the rain that we've had over the last few days, that's going to play into effect as well. So I think it really is going to be quite a challenge for the riders out there, but that's what a Masters is all about. Let's put these top riders to the test.
So reverse order show jumping, that means that our dressage leader Oliver Townend, noteworthy, will be the last to jump a little bit later on this morning, just before 11 o'clock. Oliver going into the arena. And the total distance on this die body track, 430 metres. 69 seconds that time allowed. 1 penalty for every second or part second over that time. And to get us underway will be Hector Payne for Great Britain. Hector coming forward with Michael Payne's Blue Moonshine. 58.5. Hector was a bit disappointed with his dressage yesterday, but this is a horse that has had some really good form in the past. Actually finished 3rd in the big under-25s class at Bramham back in 2014. The horse has had a bit of time off. Has spent a lot of time in the hunting field, actually, so a bit of mud isn't going to bother him.
Be interesting to see Hector here. This phase can be a little tricky for this horse. They actually, at CIC 3-star level, they average 8.8 penalties. So 2 down could be a normal round for them. I mean, hopefully no rider goes into the arena hoping to have, you know, a fence down. So he's going to try and pull a clear round out. But we'll see how this course rides.
Well, Sam, we're looking forward to getting your take on this, because we're going to have a few Sams in this conversation. So Sam Watson from Echo Rating, Sam Griffiths, international event rider. We might have to call you Sam Griffiths and Sam Watson so nobody gets confused. But it starts, the first line is a early challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to make a real decision, because that from 2 to 3's walked quite moving. It's quite uphill. And, you know, it comes thick and fast, and I think to make the time, you're going to have to set a good tempo right from the beginning.
The SAP vertical, no problem for Hector. Clear so far. The clock is green. It will turn red when he pushes over that time allowed of 69 seconds.
And you see the horse there, he just shied away a bit from the crowd there. I think you need an experienced horse. That Oxer at the top there, the first one he had down, is considerably lower on the left-hand side. And then it gets quite gappy, the second one he had. So
2 down. Now this is the option fence, isn't it? So he can turn left-handed to the planks, which is much shorter. But the Oxer as the alternative would perhaps be the easier.
Do you know, I had a look at the planks, and I could have sworn that they had butter on those cups. I mean, you only need to breathe on that and they're going to come down. So, yeah.
Well, he cleared the planks, but 2 down and 2 time faults for Hector Payne, the first combination to go with Blue Moonshine.
I think he'd actually be a little bit disappointed, because the horse jumped so well to start with, and it was just that one line at the top. But you really get a feel for the closeness of the arena as well. It is down in a bit of a hollow, and some of the horses are just going to react a little bit.
And the crowds are quite close, aren't they?
Yeah, you know, I think he just came off from the crowd, and then Hector was a little bit indecisive down to this. You know, you can see it's quite a gappy upright. And just from those, you know, I don't think he quite arrived at the distance he was hoping for. But yeah, again, you need an experienced horse that can deal with the crowds.
And then 2 time penalties could be influential as well.
Well, the ground jury will watch the first 3 horses go, then make a decision if they leave the time the same, they extend it, or indeed make it tighter. But now it is Ashley Edmund making her Event Rider Masters debut this weekend. Triple Chance she comes forward with. Horse she owns alongside Bridget Hill, a horse that went to Bramham actually in the under-25s this year. Finished 7th. 57.3 her dressage coming forward. Clear through the combination at 5.
So 4 CIC 3-stars under the belt for this combination, yet to get the clear round in the show jumping. This is going to be a question for them, but at the moment it's all going well.
And that triple bar, Sam, is enormous, isn't it? It's 160 wide.
Yeah, it is really
maximum
wide.
Dimension.
Yeah, it doesn't give you the feel that it's particularly big, but it's properly wide, and you know, you need to maintain your momentum to it. But you know, I think we're going to see, unfortunately, she's going to get time faults. Like I said, I think you've got to really start with a positive canter and maintain it, and almost ride it a little bit like a speed class. But you know, she's jumped really well, but you know, the times can become a real issue there.
Well, a jumping clear round, but 8 time penalties for Ashley Edmund and Triple Chance. So they go forward on 65.3 to the cross country this afternoon. But actually, as you say, Sam, this is the conversation we'll have a lot throughout the morning. You can take those extra pulls, make sure you jump the fences clear, but the time is just as expensive.
Yeah, and like I was saying, there's not that many places where you can cut corners. I think into 5, the vertical double is one place you could keep it really tight. But there's not that many places. Perhaps after the upright prior to the triple bar is a little bit of an opportunity where you can open your horse up, but they're pretty much the only places you can try and save on time. So, you know, like I've said before, you just need to start with a really strong canter. It's quite purposeful so that you can maintain that rhythm around the course.
So now coming forward, Louise Harwood with her homebred 4-star campaigner, Mr. Potts, 56.1 there, Dressage. That left him in 31st place, and the top spec Oxer goes at 3. That's a fence that actually 12 months ago here at Gatcombe was really influential. Something about the colour, perhaps, it blends.
Yeah, just the horses tend not to jump green so well, actually. But you know, it's a long way up from that combination. She got an extra stride between 1 and 2. Then that made the distance to 3 quite a long way, and he didn't quite make the back rail.
So it was hoped in 2015 was the last time these guys jumped a clear round in the phase, but what's going to be interesting is the time. The ground jury are getting close now to having to make a decision. Will they adjust it or not? First couple of riders into the ring, they've had 2 time penalties and 8 time penalties, but Louise, very experienced rider, might just give them a better indication as to whether the time is impossible or not.
I think she's still looking tight on time, but I have to say none of the first 3 have really looked like they've moved around the course, and they'll probably keep that in mind when they look to make a decision.
Yeah, I think it's very important. You know, we're looking at reverse order after show jumping, so they're probably not going in to really pressure for a clear inside the time.
So 10 time and 8 jumping, 18 in total. That drops her a couple of places on the leaderboard. 74.1 the score that Louise takes forward to the cross-country jumping phase a little bit later on this afternoon. But those fences, Sam, they come down so easily, don't they? You mentioned the butter on the cup, so it's not quite that bad, but it's not far off.
Yeah, no, they come down very easily. I think a bit of Louise's problem here was she was losing a bit of straightness with the way he jumped, and so if you lose your straightness, then suddenly those jumps become a whole lot wider, and the horses aren't quite pushing off both legs properly. So, you know, she's a competitor, Louise, so I think she'll be disappointed with that. But, you know, it's a 3-phase competition, and she's, you know, a very strong cross-country rider.
So next to come forward for Great Britain, making her Event Rider Masters debut this weekend. Caroline March. Caroline with Postmaster, a horse she owns alongside Jane March. Just a 12-year-old, produced by Caroline herself. 13th at Chatsworth a little bit earlier on this year. Went clear across the country on that occasion. Very much a talented young rider for the future. Was based with Angus Smales, actually, for 3 years up in Leicestershire, now based down in Essex. 55.3 her Dressage, Caroline March, Postmaster.
She's ridden that first line really nicely. You know, she got the 6 strides is how it's designed, and then she stayed forward to make that back rail of that green Oxer. She's kept it nice and tight here, so she's, you know, so far she's riding a really clever round.
She's never had more than a rail down, so they've either been clear or 1 down. So they do look on paper like they're good, and what we're seeing here so far is looking positive.
Yeah.
Can I say that she's actually moving on a little more than some of our previous riders too?
Yeah, and she looks like she's riding quite a tight line, and you know, that's what I think you need to do. So, and like I was saying, there's not that many places where you can make up the time, but listen, she's really nice and tight to there. Now she might have run a touch deep to that, but a horse jumped well. So, you know, she hasn't looked like she's had to go fast. She's just ridden really tight lines, and listen, fantastic, you know.
Well, our first clear round
Fantastic.
comes
Yep.
courtesy of Caroline March, postmaster, inside the time easily. She goes forward to the cross country on 55.3. She was 30th after dressage, but she's going to climb, and that was brilliant to see, Sam, a young rider coming forward on her ERM debut, and she showed the pros how to do it.
Do you know, she rode really clever lines. She didn't look like she was having to go fast, but she kept everything tight. She kept everything smooth, and you know, made the time by nearly 3 seconds. So what a great round.
It can be done, it can be done. So Rose Carnegie coming forward next for Great Britain with Landine. 55.2 their dressage. She can't afford any penalties to stay ahead of Caroline March.
So Landine jumped to clear in the CCI 3-star at Blenheim last year. So able to jump at this level. We've just had our first clear round in this competition coming early in the competition, courtesy of Caroline March. Let's see what Rose can do.
Yeah, he looks like he's jumping well. You can still see he's just a bit slippery on the going there. She's come on a bit of an angle to that. And again, the horse, I think, just coming away from the crowd a bit. But, you know, he's a bit slippery out there, and sometimes that can knock the horse's confidence.
They won't be getting too much help off the surface today, will they?
No, I can't see it. So, you know, the one good thing is the ground is consistent out there, but it's not the most. It doesn't have the most spring about it.
So 2 poles down, the Event Rider Masters planks go as well. 12 jumping, there's going to be time too as she comes down to the final treble. She's not going to make that 69-second time allowed. She clears through the last combination and 5 time at 12 jumping, 17 to add in total for Rose Carnegie. But we've had our first clear round. It comes courtesy of a young lady making her Event Rider Masters debut.
Yeah, Caroline March joins me now. A clear round.
Oh, thank you. I'm over the moon. He came out this morning and just felt fantastic, jumping, flying, so I knew that I could go for it and he was going to be careful, and he really did just jump out of his skin.
Dibody's course has really got the riders jittery. How fast did you feel you had to go?
Very, and you certainly have to take tight lines. Like I took 5 into the first, between 1 and 2, and you really had to do that to keep moving. I do a lot of jumping on him, so I knew that he was going to be quick and careful, and so I did go for it, having heard people come up at 10 time faults, 8 times. Oh my word, I'm going to have to go for it, and he answered every question and flew. So,
well, you've proved it's possible. 55.3 is our clubhouse leader. You're our clubhouse leader. Well done.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you very much.
Well, looking forward to seeing Caroline across the country this afternoon. 55.3. She leads at the moment. She's already moved up from 30th after dressage, the 1 place on the leaderboard. How much will she climb? Because she could be the first of those big to make a bid towards the top 15. Now coming forward, Harry Zenith for Great Britain. Harry with his 4-star campaigner Zam, owned by the Zam partnership. It's a horse that's 16 years of age now, has been such a wonderful star for Harry over the years, has taken him to numerous 4-stars. They were top 25 at Le Moulin just a few weeks ago, and Harry himself is a former junior team gold medalist, won a Young Rider gold as well back in 2009. 54.7 he comes forward on in 28th after dressage, cannot afford any penalties, time or jumping, to stay ahead of Caroline March.
Yeah, it can go either way for Harry, and that's not the start he wanted. They did manage to jump a clear round in Le Moulin this year at the 4-star, which is a very big course, but they left the fences up, but they had 10 time penalties, so time and jumping just could come into play here. And it's just worth noting how close. We're already into people coming in now with a 54 dressage. It really is tightly bunched after that first phase. Never nice having the first fence then, Sam.
No, it's a bit of a heartbreaker really, and you know, perhaps he just wasn't quite positive enough in his canter because, yeah, really disappointing to have the first down. But he looks like he's jumping well now, so hopefully he can put that behind him.
Now I think he's about 8 seconds behind where Caroline was when
Caroline came around that corner with 20 seconds left on the clock.
Right, so definitely going to get time penalties.
Yeah, and looks, and there goes that plank again, and you know, like I was saying, I'm sure they've greased it with butter. I mean, you only have to breathe on it and for it to come down. So
And is right into the tents as well, which are wide as well. It's quite hard to sight that top line.
So 7-time plus jumping of 12 jumping faults for Harry Dennis, and that'll drop him slightly down the leaderboard, but Caroline March continues her climb up, 55.3, the Clubhouse leader. She'll be looking to capitalise on that good clear round in the show jumping. Well, Sam, we've seen a few go now. What's your initial thoughts, living up to the expectation of it being tough?
Yeah, I mean, this is a proper sort of championship class, isn't it? You know, the best are going to have to rise to the top. And, you know, Gatcombe's always one of those competitions where you can, although you want a competitive dressage, you know you need a real jumper. And because of the cross-country is so influential with the time and everything, and you can just see here, you need a horse that jumps really well.
So David Britnell coming forward with continuity, and unfortunately the first two go for him. He's a young man who's really made his mark on the series. He was 16th on his debut at Chatsworth, 13th at Barbury. This is a horse that he's produced himself all up through the levels, right from Pony Club up to 3-star. They've had some good placings. They were top 10 at Hartbury last year on their debut at the level, but he'll be really disappointed. Heartbreak for the first fence down, but real heartbreak for the first two.
Yeah, you know, I think when you have your first couple of fences down, you might be just questioning what you've done in the warm-up, because obviously, you know, it just looked like he's just taking him a couple of fences to work out and get familiar with the size of the fences he's doing. So, really disappointing, but anyway, I'm sure it'd be an experience you'll learn from.
He looked over that vertical like he just didn't quite get high enough. The horse.
Yeah, he was quite open to it, so perhaps, you know, being aware of the time, you know, he's taken that risk and unfortunately didn't quite pay off for him.
Well, 3 down, 1 time fault, only marginally over the time, but David Britnell, continuity, 66.6, they go forward to on this afternoon's cross-country phase.
Do you know, if he put the first two fences aside, I think he could be really, really pleased with that round. You know, but hopefully he'll come away better from that experience, and you know what you need to do as a rider is keep learning and adjusting. And you know, I'd be saying to, if I was training him, I'd be, you know, saying just review your warm-up, because take away those first two fences and you've done a good round.
Well, next to go, Paul Sims with Edna and Henry Harding's Calidor, and this a horse that has been a real star for Paul over the years, has had a fairly quiet couple of seasons, but 53.0 their dressage, they come forward from yesterday.
Now, Sam, I'm right in thinking this is one of your predicted clear rounds, is it?
Yeah, now the only thing with these guys, they can pick up a time fault. They jumped a clear at Barbury last in 2014, they picked up a time fault on that occasion, but they've jumped a good few clear rounds, including Blenheim last year, so we'll see what Paul can do.
Good. Again, you know, I think he's kept things quite tight early on, which is, you know, riding quite tight lines, so that's good.
He just had a little rub of that first orange vertical coming into the double.
Down to the Land Rover vertical, Paul Sims, Calidor, 53.0. Can't afford a fence down to stay ahead of Caroline March.
Good, you know, he's done a good job to keep himself quite pacey around through that area, and then he's, you know, rebalanced his horse after opening it up over the triple bar.
And the time is going to be tight, but the Oxer is gone. He's got to come around to these planks now.
Well, that just costs him 1 place on the leaderboard, but the time, he's not going to get through this final combination with 4 seconds left on the clock. So how influential is that going to be? Jumps through that combination and 3 time faults, so 4 jumping 3 times, 7 to add, and he goes forward to the cross country on 60.0, still in 27th place, so just drops the 1 place on the leaderboard. Caroline March, she's already moved up 4 places in the show jumping, just the 1 clear round so far. And Diebody's show jumping track certainly proving influential. We had 4 clear rounds here at Gatcombe last year inside the time. We had 3 clear rounds in Shardy just a few weeks ago for leg 4, which was the most influential leg in the show jumping to date. But what can this combination do? Beanie Sturgis for Great Britain comes forward with her Speed King Lebowski, 52.2 in 25th after dressage. Now, Sam, if they can be in touch after the first two phases, cross-country this afternoon is key for this pair.
Yeah, she's a speed machine, and you know, I think she'll be a bit disappointed to have that rail early on. I think she tried to do one less stride, and just angled it a bit, and paid the price. So you know, if you make a mistake on this course, you're going to be caught out, and hence why we're going to see very few clear rounds.
Beanie's Gatcombe form. She started here in this three-star class with 2 clears, and then it was 1 down back in 2015, 2 down in 2016. So if she can keep it to 1, she really stood off that triple bar. It was wide enough as it was without standing off.
I mean, to be fair, this horse, 17 years of age now, Lebowski. He's been such a star for her. 56.2 going forward to the cross-country. They only added 2 time faults last year. Second fastest time of the day.
You know, this is fairly local for Beanie, this event, and she's a speed machine, and she has a great partnership with this horse. So, you know, great that she's made the time as well.
Yeah, I think that's very influential now. I think these people Beanie could really be there on the podium for a good proportion of the afternoon after that round.
Beanie Sturgis Lebowski, 1 down, 56.2. She drops 1 place on the leaderboard behind Caroline March, who continues her climb. But Lebowski this afternoon, we can't forget, Sam, that 12 months ago, Elizabeth Power Solodoon, the highest climber on the leaderboard, did have a pole down in the show jumping.
Yeah, so a really similar profile to what Beanie's done, and there's 2 differences from last year. One, the ground is softer this year, so the time should be even more influential. And I think the course is also a lot twistier as well. So 1.2 time, the fastest time last year. I think we could be looking at a situation where nobody gets within 10 seconds of the time.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You know, there's quite twisty on the cross country, and I think it's going to be really tough to make the time.
Well, Ben Hobday coming forward now. Ben was crowned the novice champion here yesterday. Comes forward with Rachel Foster's Stiletto H, 52.0 their dressage. This is a horse that's only run at this level 5 times, I think, Sam, but a very good show jumping record.
Yeah, their last 3 rounds at this level all clear. If I could swap out my Paul Sims card, and I would have probably gone for Ben, but he's just had the back rail of that Oxer.
Again, you know, I think the horse perhaps just showing a little bit of inexperience. Again, just coming off the crowd, but you know, Ben's really riding aware of the time, and he's quite up tempo, and you know, I guess it was just disappointing that he's had that rail.
Some horses really respond to being ridden up to the pace, don't they? And then others find it a little bit more difficult.
Well, yeah, that was really unfortunate. You know, he's tried to do a tight line, but that was really unfortunate for him.
So Ben Hobday, Stiletto H coming down to the final line, 2 down, and they're going to get a time fault as well. 2 time faults in total, 62.0. They drop a couple of places on the leaderboard. But let's go down and talk to Alice.
Well, Beanie, Rotter jumped his socks off.
He did. He was amazing, wasn't he? As Chris Bartle kindly told me, I added 1 to fence 2, which was completely my fault, so I had it down. So, you know, my fault, not his.
What's your take on the track?
The cross country, lovely, really nice. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Perfect ground, good track. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So we've still got just 1 clear in the show jumping. Clubhouse leader 55.3. So, but you're going to be a climber on that cross country. We know that.
We hope so. We hope so.
Good luck.
Thanks, Al.
Well, she was top 10 last year. What can she do this time around? Next to go, it is for Ireland, the lady who made the highest climb onto the podium in 2016. Elizabeth Power with Solodoon, 50.8 her dressage. That left them in 23rd position. But they had a pole down here last year and climbed into 3rd to finish on the podium, courtesy of that very fast cross-country round. They've jumped clear rounds at Aachen and at Chatsworth so far this year, and in fact at Chatsworth finished inside the top 10 in the Event Rider Masters. Elizabeth Power for Ireland, Solodoon. This another combination to have the first fence.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's right up to height right from the start. So listen, she'll be disappointed with that, because she you know, really prides herself on how she jumps and how her horse jumps. So yeah, you know, it's really disheartening having the first rail on the course.
It's quite a tight turn away from the collecting ring. Oh, and that's going to be expensive for Elizabeth. She had 2 down on her intermediate championship horse yesterday, dropped to 30th position after show jumping, managed to climb back up to finish 5th with her speed on the cross country. But nobody wants to have 2 rails down when you're in an Event Rider Masters leg.
That just costs her 2 places on the leaderboard as things stand. So if she can get home, the time coming towards the end of the course looks okay. If she can come home with nothing else to add, oh.
Now I think it gets interesting for us. 12 to add. This horse jumped clear in Aachen, and it's just not going to plan today. So we may not get to see Sow unleashed to the full extent of his power on the cross country. It's not gone according to plan for Elizabeth. She'll be disappointed with that.
She'll be very disappointed inside the time, but 5 jumps down, things not going to plan at all for Izib and Sow. Any particular reason that you can see? Just didn't like the ground, maybe?
Yeah,
or?
Perhaps just not the ground. Perhaps a little bit of. Perhaps she didn't quite have as much control as she'd like. Jump in the Hackamore, you just sometimes wonder. And particularly if she's run fast in recent events, that sometimes that the horses can come out just a bit fresh and just not quite as respectful as enough. So, but listen, she's a competitor. She'll be really disappointed with that. I hope we do get to see her run cross country, but with 20 faults that she perhaps might not.
We'll watch this space, but next to go, representing Great Britain, it is Matthew Heath with Hazel Livesey's Cooley Lord Lux. 50.5 their dressage, that left them in 21st place after the first phase. This is a new combination this year. This horse actually produced by Laura Collett and Flora Harris. Matt took on the ride this year and finished top 15 at Tattersalls in the 3-star.
Yeah, interesting horse. He's had 20 international runs with his 3 different riders. He's never had more than 4 faults. Jumping, he's picked up a couple of time penalties with the 4 faults, so well able to jump a clear round. May just have 1 down on previous records, but they should give us quite a smart round.
Yeah, I'd just be a bit concerned that Matt just hasn't quite ridden. He's kept it very tight. He's kept the lines really tight, but I just can't help but feel that it just hasn't gone quite quick enough.
Sometimes as a rider, Sam, do you feel like if you push the horse, you're going to lose the rhythm, you're going to have the fences down, it's not worth it?
Yeah, it's a decision. It's like, do you want to take your time and be a little bit more careful, or do you want to risk it? But most of the riders are competitors here, and I think that they, I'd be surprised that if they don't sort of risk having a rail by trying to keep up tempo, because although he's jumped really well, he's walked away with 6 time faults, and perhaps if he'd been a bit braver, he might have still left them all up, but not got those time faults.
Well, actually, 56.5. Matthew Heath drops below Caroline March. So Caroline March came into this morning's show jumping in 30th place. She's already going to be no worse than 22nd going into the cross country. She's going to easily climb into the top 20. That is the importance of all 3 phases of the competition, isn't it? It isn't just about the dressage, not just about the show jumping, it is all 3.
At Gatcombe, you need a jumper, and particularly on the cross country, you need a fast jumper. So you need a horse that can really jump, and this is really showing, because these are the best riders in the country. So but this track is really tough.
Well, 12 months ago, a stallion finished on the podium. That was Upsilon. This is the only stallion in the field this year. Umberto Riva for Italy, making his Event Rider Masters debut, comes forward with Phoenix Damini. 50.5. He was equal with Matt after the first phase, and clear so far through the combination at 5.
1 down in the Gatcombe CIC 3-star for these 2, but quite limited on 3-star experience. So this is going to be a big occasion for Umberto. They pulled out a huge personal best in the dressage yesterday, and so far they are doing a smart job here, really keeping up a good rhythm.
I want to say he's possibly slightly down on the clock. It's not got a huge amount in the bank, and the planks come down as well, so he takes that option fence. The clock is going to look tight too. So 4 jumping as he comes down to the final treble. The clock is going to turn red, and 2 time faults as well, but still a good round. 6 to add for this young combination. Umberto Riva, Phoenix Damini for Italy, and they finish on 56.5.
I think he'll be pleased with that round. He tried to stay quite quick around the corner to the planks, and that's a risk you take. So and those planks, you only need to breathe on them for them to come down. And so, yeah, you know, that was a good round. And, you know, that was a chance he took, and it didn't quite come off, but maybe on another day that he had a bit more luck.
6 penalties, actually the equal third best score that we've seen this morning. Obviously Caroline posting that, only Claire and Lebowski on 4.
So just the one clear round so far. Leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters here at Gatcombe Park. As Sarah Holmes coming forward with Low Hill Clover. 49.8, that left them inside the top 20 after the dressage. In the studio with me, Australian International Event Rider Sam Griffiths and Equiratings Sam Watson as well.
So yeah, this is a young combination. I know Sarah, she hails from the Isle of Wight, so it's a big effort for her to come across to all the events here.
First rider from the Isle of Wight we've had in the Event Rider Masters series.
Yeah, and you know, she's a really good up and coming rider. A horse just didn't jump that Oxer at fence 3 so well, but listen, the more experience and mileage she gets, the better she'll be, and she as a rider, she's just getting better and better.
Just the one pole down so far. She isn't a huge amount up on the clock. And that rail goes as well. So 8 to add jumping. That actually drops her behind Caroline March. 57.8 so far.
Yeah, it'll be a shame for Sarah, but she had 2 at Barbary and 2 at Tattersalls, and she is on 2 here. So it's a trend she's going to want to stop at one point or another. But this arena really being difficult this morning.
And just talk us through that, Sam, because she looked like she'd put 2 strides in the first part of the combination, and then it all just went a little wrong.
She was doing a good round until then, but listen, I think you just say she just missed coming into, and that's quite a big Oxer. A horse was really honest to keep going. She just ran in too deep to that Oxer. The horse had no chance. And then once the poles get caught around the legs, because that was quite a long stride in there, that you know. Yeah, it was really honest to keep jumping, and it did its best, but it had no chance. So, you know, again, one mistake ends up being really costly.
It's like a wheel coming off the car in a Formula 1 that moment. You know, it's just not gone according to plan coming in, and you're faced with more fences coming out.
Well, he was very honest to keep going. So next to go, it is one of the Equiratings ones to watch. Toledo de Cursor, Tom McEwen comes forward. 48.8 their dressage. That left them in 19th place. After the first phase. Tom, a former winner of the Bramham Under-25s class on this horse 12 months ago, then went on to Poe to jump a double clear in their first 4-star, finished just outside the top 10 at Badminton this year. And Sam, why is this horse such a hot favourite in Equiratings?
Well, it's got just the most beautiful columns of zeros down here, looking at its show jumping record. Just 1 show jump down in the Bramham CCI 3-star, never in a CIC. Never picked up a time fault in the show jumping. So just fascinating just to watch a rider like Tom. He's very good in this phase. This horse is a good jumper. Now, he's a big horse, though, and we've seen that this morning with some of the bigger horses. They've been struggling in this arena. It's nearly better to have a smaller stride that you can keep going to make the time. So it'll be fascinating to watch this pair.
And his horses, you can see already, he's jumping like a jumper. He's giving plenty of height, and you know, that must just give Tom a lot of confidence that you can keep the pace, you can keep coming in, keep motoring, so that time's not such an issue. And you know, it's a careful, and he's big and scopy, isn't he? You know, this is looking easy for him, and giving plenty of height. So and I have to say, Tom's riding him beautifully.
I think he's going to have his first time fault, though.
I was going to say, the time is looking tight. Tom McEwen, Toledo de Cursor, jumping clear so far. He's not going to make it through the final combination with 5 seconds left on the clock, but he has some penalties in hand to hold his position. He jumps clear, he retains that very good clear jumping round record. 2 time penalties for Toledo de Cursor and Tom McEwen. They hold their position 50.8 going forward to this afternoon's cross-country phase. Sam, disappointing with the time, but I have to say that was the most beautiful round.
Yeah, super job from Tom, super from the horse, really special horse over the show jumps, but interesting, only 3 people to make the time this morning.
Well, let's go down to Alice at the collecting ring.
Yeah, Matthew Heath joins me. Fantastic clear, just the time to add.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped his socks off. I was a little bit protective and a little bit slow around a couple of turns, but he almost jumped so big over the Oxers, he wasted a bit of time in the air as well. The time's obviously incredibly tight in there, but I couldn't have been happier with the way he jumped.
Yeah, he's a real horse for the future, isn't he? I mean, the time is really tight, but my goodness, his technique is unreal.
Yeah, he's got a super technique, and you know, it's my first season with him. I'm still getting to know him and find the right buttons and things, and getting to know each other. So I think we'll have a lot of fun, in, you know, the rest of this season, and be competitive next year in some good competitions, hopefully.
Well, best of luck with the rest of the competition. Well done.
Thank you very much.
So next to come forward, Vittoria Pan is on the reverse order. Show jumping means that things are getting very influential very quickly here, because 48.7 in 18th position, just over 2 fences behind our leader Oliver Townend, and noteworthy. Vittoria comes forward with Borough Pennies, the horse she finished just outside the top 10 on in the Olympics in London.
I'm sure Sam, you'll pull out some stats. We all know this on the circuit is an excellent jumper. It's sort of managed. It's a horse that really turns herself inside out, and you know, Victoria's quite a quick rider, and but listen.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to struggle for time. But interestingly, I mean, this was one of the best jumpers in the world, I would say, for quite a period of time. But she's just in her last 3 CIC, she managed to have one rail at Bramham, 1 rail at Barbary, and then clear at Chatsworth. So it'll be interesting to see. But in terms of talent, this horse certainly has it, and rider.
So Vittoria Pan is on 48.7. Can't afford a pole down to stay ahead of Tom McEwen, Toledo de Cursa.
And you know, she's riding a really positive round, so she's clearly got the time in the back of her mind, and but you know, this horse is so quick on her feet that that you could feel pretty confident to ride that sort of up tempo, and you know, the horse has super technique, and
she's going to be quick in the next phase as well, isn't she?
She is, but she's not going to make the time in the show jumping. She's going to have a time penalty or 2, and 2 time penalties, 3 time penalties for Vittoria Panizon and Borough Pennies. 51.7. That actually drops her below Tom McEwen and Toledo de Cursa, but she stays ahead of Caroline March on 55.3. So 3 time penalties from the show jumping, Sam, but still a very nice clear round jumping wise.
Well, we've just seen 2 lovely rounds, Tom McEwen and Vittoria Panizon, but that's going to put a lot of pressure on our top few here. We're just about to get into the top 15, 16 competitors, so those guys in the top 5, they might have been watching those rounds, going to get on their horses now, and they know that this is literally show jumping against the clock, and the strategies and tactics as to, can my horse, you know, where can I shave a turn, make it tighter? What pace am I going to be able to go with the horse, because the jumping is proving difficult, the time is proving difficult.
So far just the 1 clear round. Do Echo Ratings stand by the prediction of 3 jumping clear rounds?
Well, we've lost Toledo de Cursa to 2 time penalties and Borough Pennies to 3 time penalties, so they left all the jumps up, so it could be less than that, because we have seen a lot of good jumpers already this morning, so to have 1 clear round, this is very, very influential.
You know, it's pretty much riding like a one. In terms of jumping, this is a 130 speed class, and I think if you take it in that way, a 1 round against the clock, that's the attitude you need to have. So, but yeah, time's a real influence, and makes you take a few more chances to a fence that perhaps you wouldn't otherwise take.
Well, we're looking at people. We've got Izzy Taylor coming in 2 horses' time with Perfect Stranger. That's sort of my one ace card hopefully left to play.
I've got an ace card left to play. Kirsty Johnson, WTTL Opposition Skylaw. I've been championing Kirsty all weekend, but I genuinely think they were top 10 at Blair last year when they made their Event Rider Masters debut. They had a couple of time penalties, I think, on that occasion, but they jumped a really nice double clear round. So that's my one to watch in the next couple of horses. But we are heading towards the top 15. And next to come forwards will be, I think, it should be Ludwig Spellenstall, but it's actually going to be Kirsty Johnston, WTTL Opposition Skylaw. And actually coming forward in 15th position, so 47.9. That was their dressage. What can they do here in the show jumping? As I said, a couple of time penalties in Blair, but jumped a very nice clear round. And a horse that actually went to Straygom for the CCI 3-star a little bit earlier on this season, finished 4th on that occasion. Kirsty, a really experienced young rider, has a really nice team of horses. This very much one of them. She's completed at 4-star level.
And this is a lovely horse. I mean, when you see him in up close, a real event type, a big, scopy, and quite an eye-catching horse. And Yeah, oh, that's unfortunate.
Another one to have the first fence, and that's the first rail that Kirsty has had, and there goes the second. The first one they've had in over 12 months as a partnership. They've picked up a couple of time faults, but those early fences, we've seen a lot of people having the first and in those first three.
Yeah, you have to be, right on the button right from the very beginning, and the first, 4 fences come up really quickly, and your horses have to be right on the button. You have to be not right on the button as a rider, otherwise Di's going to catch you out.
Interesting, you're talking about the warm-up as well previously, because Kirsty coming in out of order, and you just wonder what was going on in the collecting ring behind the scenes there, and has that cost her early on.
Well, we understand Ludwig has actually lost a shoe, so he'll be coming forward later. The FEI steward's giving him permission to come out of order.
Really tight turn round behind the car.
So expensive round, 3 down and 1 time for Kirsty Johnston and WTTL opposition Skylaw, 60.9. That will drop her a couple of places on the leaderboard. But Caroline March has climbed into the top 20. She was 30th after Dressage, and she's already up to at least 19th, 55.3. Our sole clear round means that she is the biggest climber so far of the day. Well, Kirsty Johnston just jumping out of order there. Ludwig Svennestal having lost a shoe. He'll be coming forward next into the arena, we understand. And that can be quite tricky, can't it, Sam? If you've lost a shoe or something happens in the warm-up, you've got to change your preparation.
Yeah, again, it can really fluster you as a rider because, you have your warm-up plans, and then something unpredictable as losing a shoe can really throw you out. But he's quite a cool customer, Ludwig, so I'm sure he'll still be pretty confident, but never a great thing to happen.
Big PB for the horse yesterday. He'd never gone below 50 in the dressage arena, pulled out a 48.6. Alice asked Ludwig in the pouring rain yesterday, will the conditions affect you? And he just said no.
No. Very, very flat. No.
So will pulling a shoe off in the collecting ring affect you? I imagine the answer would have been no.
No.
Again, he's kept it nice and tight here to the double, and saving every little bit of space he can.
48.6. I think they had a couple down at Barbary, but this is a horse that Ludwig has put so much work into. He's actually bound for Burley at the end of the month.
He's hugely experienced, Ludwig. He's 62 CIC 3-stars under his belt in the last 7 years, and for a young man, he's been to 2 Olympic Games. Hugely experienced in jumping a really good round.
He nearly got jumped off then.
There, yeah.
And actually, Ludwig, he's been ranked twice inside the world's top 10. He's won a team silver at the European Championships in Malmo. He's coming down to this final combination. He's just got the 2 to go. Can he be our second clear round? Yes, he can. What a round from the young Swedish superstar. 48.6. He's our new clubhouse leader. Ludwig Svennestal, Ballon miss for owner Andrew Ayres. Now.
Did that shoe affect him? Of
No.
course it didn't. The answer is no.
The answer is definitely no. Now, Sam, coming forward to the cross country, how fast are they?
Yeah, well, Ludwig did say he wanted it to be the tougher, the better for this horse. So he has probably taken the strategic decision in the past to pick up some time faults with him. He obviously feels, so on paper, we haven't yet seen a super fast round from this horse. But from what Ludwig is saying and the way he is riding and what he's produced, 2 huge performances. I would say the best dressage test this horse has produced, the best show jumping round this horse has produced, ones to watch.
I've got a bit of inside information on Balamis, that he is very fast across the country when Ludwig wants him to be. So, will we have our second Swedish rider on a podium? We'll have to wait and see, as we now turn our attentions to Harry Mead, who won a team silver medal at the World Equestrian Games for Great Britain back in 2014. He comes forward with Away Cruising, the horse that went very, very well at Le Moulin a few weeks ago. 46.1 their dressage in 14th position after the first phase. And news just coming in, actually, that Izzy Taylor, Perfect Stranger have withdrawn. That's why they haven't presented down at the start of the show jumping.
Yeah, Harry a bit disappointed. His horse just shut down on him a little bit into that combination, just had it behind. So, he kept it nice and tight and looked like he was jumping well. So, a bit disappointing for him.
This horse he's finding his sort of feet in the show jumping phase at this level. It was they're yet to bag a clear round at the top level, at 3 or 4 star level, but it's starting to get better. They're 2 down at Blenheim last season, but they've been to a 4 star experience. He'll be annoyed with the planks there as well.
Yeah, just ran in a touch close to the horse, and you know, like we've said all along, they only have to breathe on that plank for it to come down. So yeah, and a bit frustrating to have that last fence. You know, he gave it a good ride into the last combination, and yeah, I think he'll be a bit disappointed to have that last fence.
So 15 to add for Harry Mead away, cruising our top 3 as things stand. Sweden, Great Britain, Italy. Ludwig Svenestål, the Clubhouse leader. He's the man in the lead at the moment, 48.6, one of only 2 clear rounds. Tom McEwen, 2-time penalties for him with Toledo de Cursa. He currently sits second on 50.8, and Vittorio Panizon for Italy, completing the top 3 as things stand, 51.7. So that's the top 3 as things stand. We are into the top 13 now. And the reverse order show jumping, Sam, you have to admit, it does build the tension.
It puts pressure on you, but you know, if you want to win these classes, then that's something you just have to accept. And listen, all these guys that you know, guys like Oliver and all the guys that are right up there, they'll be used to it, and that they'll be loving it. So yeah, it's the place you want to be is under that pressure, because that's when you know you're going well.
Well, next to go is Sarah Bullimore with Rev de Rouet coming forward on 55.4 in 13th position after the first phase. This actually a combination that went really well here last year, finished 5th in the Event Rider Masters. Ooh.
Well, I think you just call that a good old miss. Unfortunately, she tried to keep it quite tight to the fence. The horse put in another stride that she wasn't expecting, and yeah, she paid the price.
Yeah, usually my rule of thumb there is that if you can still see the pole when you're landing, then you've
not gone to plan.
Probably been my fault in that
What
situation.
would this combination normally?
Well, they had 1 down at Barbary Castle, 3 at Badminton, 1 at Belton. The show jumping is definitely an influential phase for them. Really unfortunate because it was just that one moment that's cost them 8 faults. And then really, they're hardly touching those planks.
Yeah, and I think because the time is so influential, you know, that they have an option there. They could jump the Oxford if you turn right after the yellow fence. But I think with the time being so influential, you won't see anyone do that Oxford now.
So 19 jumping for Sarah Bullimore. Rev de Rouet, she will drop slightly down the leaderboard, unfortunately out of the top 20.
So it's really taking its toll, and some of the big names, the Arctic Souls and our leader, noteworthy as well. Show jumping not necessarily their strongest phase, and they want to really use themselves on the cross country. So really important 90 seconds coming up here.
Gemma Tattersall for Great Britain. She wears the armband for the series leader. She's out in front with 74 points. She comes forward with Arctic Soul, owned by the Soul Syndicate. This is a horse that has been 3rd at Badminton last year. He was 7th at Badminton this year. He is a cross-country machine. If Gemma is in touch after the show jumping, she will be one to really watch across the country this afternoon. Well, she'll be one to watch anyway, but in terms of a podium finish and in terms of series leaderboard points, this is huge, because 44.5, she can afford to have a pole down and stay ahead of Ludwig Svenestål.
Yeah, they've been to Gatcombe on a few occasions now, just 1 down in 2013, 2014, but 2 down the last time they were here in 2015. You see Gemma coming in and giving Spike a bit of a pat. We talked about how the quiet dressage arena really helped them in the dressage yesterday. I think that trying to keep him relaxed in this atmosphere, very important for this horse.
He gets very nervous with the crowds, doesn't he? And noise. He likes to be quiet and calm.
But his jumping is really improving. His last 2 Badmintons, where he's had really good results, he's jumped clear on both those occasions. He's nearly better after a 4-star cross country, which is such an interesting concept. But he's got so much energy, this horse.
Wow, he really jumped that. You know, Gemma kept things really tight. She's riding very clever lines, and I would have said that Oxford there, that would have been a danger fence for her. But listen, he jumped his socks off over that.
The rider's being really clever. Look at her moving down the hill to that triple bar. That's the one place where you can make up a bit of time and keep galloping a little bit more.
The time looks okay to me. She's round that corner. She jumped from that Oxer with 20 seconds left on the clock. She's careful at the planks.
Well, she rather snuck over that one, but, you know, really well done.
This is a huge moment coming up into the combination. Gemma Tattersall, she's had the first rail and the second.
Oh,
that's a huge moment in the series for Gemma.
2 down for Gemma Tattersall. Arctic Soul, 8 and 52.5. She drops 3 places on the leaderboard. Expensive but influential show jumping. Perhaps not the end of the world. Sam, what happened?
No, you know, I think she'd done the tough part of the course, and yeah, he just didn't quite jump high enough. I mean, it didn't look like she did too much wrong, but you know, sometimes you know he's only just touched that, isn't he? And yeah, he's just got a bit forward on her down through there. So you know, again, perhaps the undulations of the course, because you do run down a bit of a hill to quite a big Oxer into that last treble. So it's caught her out, unfortunately.
Well, she's on 52.5. She drops behind Ludwig Svenestål, Tom McEwen and Vittoria Panizon. So 52.5 Gemma's score taking forward to the cross country. But now we look at Francis Whittington with Hasty Imp, 44.4. He was just outside the top 10 after the dressage in 11th place. This is a combination that went really well, actually, at Barbary in the Event Rider Masters. Finished 8th there and actually jumped a really good double clear on that occasion as well. And this is a horse that's been round a number of 4-stars with Francis. He can hold his position with that 1 down. So he's still holding his position.
Yeah, and Francis is a very quick cross-country rider, so you know, he'll be looking forward to the cross-country. But listen, he just wants to try and maintain his position in this jumping now. You know, 2 rails is going to be costly, whatever competition. So let's just hope he can maintain that.
Yeah, he's keeping up a good, a fast pace here. He's had 2 rails. That's the first time in his last 4 times into the ring with this horse at 3-star level. He's kept all the rails up, so that gives you a bit of context as to just how influential this is. Coming into that combination that just cost Gemma Tattersall 8 penalties, but nothing for Francis.
So 8 jumping, 2 time, and Francis Whittington, Hasty Imp, 54.5. They stay in the top 15. But the man in the lead at the moment, will he be on the podium at the end of the day? Let's go to Alice and Ludwig.
Ludwig, what a good round. These clears are very tough to come by.
Yeah, it's a very tough track. I think it's a great track. It's very testing in many different ways. It's tight turns, keep a high tempo and leave the pulse up. But it's a very tough track, yeah.
Has the rain had an effect on the footing?
I didn't think the footing was that bad. I think the footing is okay, but it's a lot of questions out there. You have bending lines and you need to be accurate, fast and keep the tight turns, and it is a very tough track.
And looking at the arena, of course, for people, it's so undulating. How much effect does that have?
Yeah, I think it definitely has an effect. It depends a little bit how you practice, I guess. It's like in the beginning of the week, we went down to Rodney's to have a ride in the field, and it's also very undulating, and as if the horse is well prepared and well trained in it, I think the horse has an advantage, but of course it has something to do with how difficult it is.
But it must have been a big help, that, because you were certainly not confident coming into this, having had the jump in the week.
No, exactly, but that's why you do it. You go and practice on grass and get the horse used to it and relaxed, and then it comes here and jumps much better.
We expected you to be a climber. What about that cross-country course?
Yeah, it's a very tough track, and again, it's very tough on time. It's going to be, you know, I'd be surprised if someone makes the time, and it's about how fast you can go and how close you can be to the time.
Well, Ludwig, we've been waiting for you to make a mark on this Event Rider Masters. Let's hope that today's the day. Well done so far.
Thank you very much.
Well, Ludwig Svenestål, our clubhouse leader at the moment, 48.6. He is out in front. Tom McEwen currently sitting in second. Disappointment for Gemma Tattersall with those 2 down, but we'll see her a little bit later on across the country, and still lots to play for. It is going to be down to the time. We've had just 2 clear rounds in the show jumping so far. We're into the top 10. Sam Watson from Echo Ratings and Sam Griffiths in the studio with me. Sam, what can we look forward to for this top 10?
This top 10, it's got, I mean, the first person we're going to see is Tim Price and Xavier Fair, a horse that was third at Badminton, a horse that produced a lovely test yesterday, but a horse for whom this phase is the one that he's going to have to get right. We know he's got speed on the cross country. It is just being so influential. Those shots that we saw Gemma Tattersall walking away on a horse that we know can be, well, one of the best cross country horses in the world. And those 2 rails down just coming so late, that's 8 penalties, that's 20 seconds on the cross country. And that's probably cost her. You know, I think she could still get onto the podium. I mean, Elizabeth Power did it with a score of 56.5 last year. That was her finishing score to get onto the podium here. So we know there's a lot coming up this afternoon, but you just never want to give 8 penalties away.
No, I think the top 10 will just be trying to maintain their positions. You know, I guess a rail is good as a clear round here, so that's how influential it's been.
It is, and I think Sarah Cohen and Treason, they could be. You know, we've got 2 clear rounds. We said we could have 3, so fingers crossed that for Cuddy and Team Cuddy that they could be one of them. But here comes Tim Price.
Well, Tim Price, Xavier Fair, a horse that he owns himself alongside his long-term supporters Trisha Rickards and Nigel Hall. Riding for New Zealand, Xavier Fair, a horse that actually was the only horse inside the time at Blair last year, has the first fence down, Sam.
Do you know, it's almost becoming one of the key fences. Yeah, do you know, I don't know why, other than that it's, you know, quite square and you're right into the course right from the start.
And
so,
away from the collecting ring?
Yeah, up a hill, off quite a tight turn. So, yeah, but Tim will be disappointed with that.
Well, he holds his position, so 47.3, that's still good enough to keep him ahead of Ludwig Svenestall.
And Divebody, we called her the smiley assassin, but she plans where every single offence was, and I saw that fence going up last night, and I thought that's a really interesting place to put a first fence. And it doesn't even look hugely big, but it's the first time they're in the ring, and it's just the undulations in that ring. It's very interestingly placed.
And Tim's just cut out a stride in that line again. You know, he sort of took the chance of you know, thinking of the time and you know, taking the risk, and he got away with it. So good on him.
This could be a huge round. We only had 2 clears, no one with just 4 faults.
Going to have time, and actually he could afford 1 time penalty, but not 2 or 3. So Ludwig Svenestall moves up into the top 10. Tim Price, Xavier Fair just drops the 1 place to 11th with those 3 time penalties, but that first fence was expensive. We saw a similar thing in Jardy, actually, where the first fence was quite influential, and we're seeing the same here at Gatcombe. But Tim Price, one to still keep an eye on across the country this afternoon. This is a horse that was one of only 2 horses inside the time at Badminton this year, Sam, and the other horse being
the Aesthetic Sam,
the Olympic champion,
and Michael Young. So he was in very good company on that day. I think that Tim is actually going to be right in the hunt. I think he's in a place where he could challenge for the podium, a little bit like Gemma. They're going to feel gutted. Tim's added 7 penalties, Gemma added 8. They've added a lot, but in the context.
Oh, again, we've had the first fence down, and you know, she was nice and positive, and you know, she rode that well, but yeah, just not quite her day.
So Emily King and Dargan riding for Jane Delmissia. This is just a 9-year-old, the youngest horse in the field coming forward. Only stepped up to this level this year. 42.9 their dressage, just the 1 pole rolled so far. They could hold their position on 46.9.
17 internationals under their belt. Never have they had 2 fences down, so they're on 1. So we will see what happens. She'll be, you know, she had that moment in the dressage. I felt that this was someone who's going to really challenge Oliver for the lead. When she went in, was producing some stunning work. A lot of potential here with this combination.
Sam, coming off that corner to the planks, we've seen a lot of riders take a pull, and actually that just resulted...
She tried to keep it really tight, but came in on no distance, and her horse had no chance. Perhaps showed a little bit of inexperience there. So listen, that'll be really disappointing, and then you know she's going to get hammered with the time faults as well. So so suddenly that becomes really expensive.
A really expensive round. So actually 4 penalties for the first fence down, 4 penalties for the first refusal, but then the time penalties as well. And we'll hopefully get a chance to see that again, because
again, jumping those planks, you are pretty much jumping, you know, particularly if you stay tight to it, you are jumping, looks like straight into the crowd. So so that's where you need an experienced horse. And you see, you know, she was thinking at the time, so she came nice and tight to it. But listen, just didn't quite, I don't think she quite had the distance. And, you know, he's perhaps a bit naughty to pull up, but...
He's got a little naughty streak.
Yeah.
He's had quite a few 20s on the cross country, this horse, so he's definitely got that little cheeky streak.
So now here's a man that I've worked with quite a bit.
You know this chap quite well, don't you?
Yeah, so he's based at my place, and this horse, it's a super jumper, but you know, I'd imagine, well, not a great start. I'd imagine that time might be a bit of an issue for Shane. And listen, yeah, this is not going so well for him.
This horse yesterday didn't seem to like the ground too much in the dressage. Do you think that might be?
No, he's you know, coming from Australia, he's used to the hard going. The horse was really primed to go to Aachen, and ran really well at Aachen in its last CIC run. It was a bit of a last-minute decision for Shane to come here. Yeah, so I think he'll be disappointed because he'll expect to jump a clear on this horse.
Finishing score 37.5 at Aachen. It really was out of the top drawer, taking on third there with the best in the world surrounding him. So interesting that you're talking about the change of plans and definitely the change of going for this horse. He's the only horse to have won a 4-star in the field, but as you say, completely different hemisphere and different conditions.
Yeah, and listen, it's usually a really reliable jumper. You know, I know Shane will be bitterly disappointed with this because, like I said, you can usually rely on it to jump a clear, but today's not his day, and perhaps the going's not for him.
And horses aren't machines, and they very much do have a preference to things, don't they? And some love the hard ground, others love the soft ground.
Yeah, and you know, it takes a bit for the horses to adjust between the two because although this is a German-bred horse, it spent its entire sort of competition career in Australia and used the hard and fast going, and so perhaps this, it's not so suitable for him.
Well, it's an expensive round for Shane Rose, but we are into the top 7 now. The reverse order show jumping here. Leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters. Sam Griffiths and Sam Watson in the studio with me, as the next combination to go will be one that are a certain combination to keep an eye on, because it is Sir Mark Todd. Kiltubrid Rhapsody for owner Nicky Ryan. This is a horse that was 3rd at St Muir a little bit earlier on this year, 6th at Buccalow, and Sir Mark hasn't had the best of it runs in the Event Rider Masters series, but he put that duck behind him with a very good podium finish at Barbary with Leonidas. He was top 10 in Jardy, and again, one to watch in the series. What can he do here today? Sam, past show jumping form.
Well, they actually have never had a full clear round, and that there's been 2 occasions when they've left all the fences up. That's this horse, but they had a couple of time penalties. They had 1 down at St Muir, 2 down at Chatsworth, but
you can never write Mark Todd off. I mean, what a champion. You don't become knighted for horse riding and not be great at what you do, so you just cannot write this man off.
He can afford a pole down to stay ahead of our current clubhouse leader, Ludwig Svennestal.
And the thing about Mark is he's such a cool customer, and you know, he's a master at his job. All us riders are dying for the day he retires just to give us a bit more of a chance. But listen, he still gets, you know, he's still such a great rider.
Well, the time is tight. Mark Todd coming down the final combination with Kiltubrid Rhapsody. He jumps clear, but 2 time faults. That is still a very important round. 44.5. He takes forward to the cross country a little bit later on today.
Huge job. I mean, that's a brilliant job from Mark there with that horse, and he's on a real upward curve, this horse. He was 3rd in St Muir, and I think it's one for everyone to really keep an eye on, because we know how talented the maestro is on board. And just for him to have another horse coming through, a quirky pass, but he's doing very well with him.
I think that just shows you the confidence that Mark can give his horses, that you know, this horse is getting better and better, and being put in a situation here, a really tough jumping situation, and he just has this amazing ability to give his horses confidence and them to try really hard for him.
Well, what can this lady do? Sarah Cohen and Pressy Sparks Treason, currently 2nd on the series leaderboard. They won in Wiesbaden. They were top 10 in Jardy. and they've had a pole down, so
yeah,
they dropped.
just lost a bit of straightness over that fence, and you know, again, she started off with a really positive canter, but yeah, he just lost a bit of straightness, and I think caused him to have that rail.
So that will drop her below Sir Mark Todd, but she will stay ahead of Ludwig Svennesdahl. Wouldn't be horrendously expensive.
Interesting, Sam talking about straightness. It does much better over that one. That's the first rail they've had in their Event Rider Masters campaign, their first rail of 2017. They've had 4 internationals this season. So damage limitation, because this is somebody who is in the hunt for this leg here at Gatcombe and for the series.
Yeah, she's a really consistent competitor, this girl, and you know, a super rider. But you know, sometimes luck doesn't go your way, and you know, anyone can have a rail.
The time is looking quite tight as well. She's just got the final fence to go. She clears it well. Is it going to be a time penalty? It is a very, very little time penalty, but it's 1 time penalty nonetheless. 4 jumping, 1 time, 5 to add. Not the end of the world for Sarah Cohen, because she just drops the 1 place behind Sir Mark Todd. She stays ahead of Ludwig Svennesdahl. So Sarah Cohen and Treason, big players in the series. They won in Wiesbaden. They've been so consistent. And this is a horse, Sam, across the country that is very, very quick.
Very quick, very reliable, clear inside the time when they won the Burnham Market 2-star, but crucially clear inside the time at Jardy, and just 0.8 of a time penalty at Chatsworth. 3.6 at Wiesbaden when they won.
And they were the fastest round in Wiesbaden. I actually spoke to Sarah after that round in Jardy, and she said he was easily inside the time. She hadn't pushed him. So how much will she push him this afternoon? There's a lot of money on the line, but the next man coming forward, we are into the top 5 here in the show jumping phase, and it is the only rider to have ever won an Event Rider Masters leg, finishing on his dressage score. That was Bramham last year. It is Alex Huatian and Don Gennaro, 41.9. They're in 5th after the first phase. This is a horse that was very naughty, shall we say, in Jardy, but he kept a lid on it yesterday in the dressage.
Yeah, you know, he started nice and up-tempo, again with that time in mind. You know, unfortunate rail there. You know, really tight line into that double, which is what you need to do, but yeah, a bit unlucky there.
Well, this horse, he's so hard to predict really in any phase. He really showed us up on the stats when he won that Event Rider Masters leg at Bramham last year. But he has a great CV for the young horse. He's only 10 this year, top 10 at the Olympic Games last year. And I think the dog, I was bad to say he's back on form. That plank will be expensive.
Well, that drops him down to 8th. So 3 places on the leaderboard. That's going to drop him a little further down. And actually he drops outside of the top 10, easily inside the time at 12 jumping for Don Gennaro. Alex Huatian 53.9. But importantly here, Sir Mark Todd, he was 7th after dressage. He is climbing into that top 5. He will be no worse than 5. He is highly likely to hold a podium position going forward to the cross country this afternoon.
Yeah, Sam, I'm looking down this sheet and I'm thinking the last time I saw a show jumping with this many penalties, probably the year you won badminton. That was quite a tough show jumping day that day as well.
Yeah, and again, the conditions played a bit of a part there, that the going was quite soft, and yeah, you know, and sometimes the jumps just look that much bigger when it's quite soft going, and I can't help but feel that the going's been influential here. You know, this is their first phase for the horses this day. They did dressage yesterday, so all the horses will be fresh. But I know it's a tough track, but I'm sure if the going was better, well, not better, but firmer, that you'd see more clear rounds.
It's the great thing about eventing is it is an all-weather sport, and you can sometimes, you know, we get fantastic top of the ground conditions, and sometimes I think it makes it really interesting when you get an event like this.
So into the top 4. Now we welcome Alex Bragg, representing Great Britain with Greb. Alex really catapulted himself onto the top of the scene last year with a very good 5th place finish at Pau on this horse, and has had a number of top 10 finishes at this level. They were so impressive across the country at badminton this year. Didn't get to complete. Named as 2nd reserve for the British team, Alex would no doubt have been absolutely gutted to miss out on a trip to the European Championships.
Yeah, I felt he was a bit hard done by there, but you know, the select, I'm sure the selectors had their reason, and so I'm sure he'd be out to prove them otherwise. And You know, that there's a national championship, you know, the British Open title that he'll be gunning for, and you know, if he can keep jumping and going as well as he has done, then yeah, I think he'll be in real contention for it.
I think he's a huge contender for this leg. His last 5 times in the ring, he's had 4 times where he's left all the show jumps up. 2 occasions with just 1 time penalty. It was Barbary where he had 2 fences down. He won't want that to happen here. And so far, with 17 seconds to get home.
So far, so good. The Ellicott family have been huge supporters of Alex and his wife Simone. He just needs to move on slightly to this final combination. The time is going to be tight. He can afford a time penalty to stay ahead of Sir Mark Todd. He's not going to need it. We have our 3rd clear round. It comes courtesy of Alex Bragg and Zagreb. They're going to be no worse than 4th. They're going to climb onto a podium position. I'm almost certain of it. That was impressive, but let's go down to Alice.
Yeah, Alex Roy-Chan joins me now. Alex, talk us through your round.
Oh, I'm a bit disappointed to have 3 down. You know, it's a really tough track in there, and I felt hurried by the time. And Don has a big stride and needs a lot of organising. And straight off from the beginning, I made a mistake between 1 and 2. I planned to go on the 5 and ended up panicking on the 6. And then we just got caught out by the little bits of technicality. The double of uprights going into the treble, and he slipped coming to the planks. So, you know, I'm glad that I made the time, but disappointed with 3.
Oh, well, listen, onwards and upwards.
Thank you.
It is a tough old show jumping track. We have 3 clear rounds. Sam, Equirating said we were going to have 3. Stand by that?
Stand by that. I think Alex Bragg could be our clubhouse leader going out into the cross country. He's a man on a mission at the moment. He is fast as well, Alex Bragg and Zagreb. Just 2 seconds over the time at Aachen. Difficult place to make the time. They made the time at Belton earlier this season. Great jumping experience with Badminton and Poe under their belts. I think they're huge contenders.
I think there would be very few riders that could top the podium and be as popular, because everybody would love to see him do it. But we have got a long way to go. We are into the top 3 in the show jumping phase, the 2nd of the 3 phases here. Leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters. Now, what can the Brazilian superstar do? Marcio Jorge, Lissy Mac Weyer. 40.0, Marcio currently sitting 7th in terms of the series. So an important round for not only the leg, but the whole series as well.
Well, she left all the jumps up in Burnham Market this year, but just had 1 time penalty. But it is a long time since it's actually the Pan Am Games at Toronto in 2015 since they had a clear round over the coloured poles. So given that the afternoon that we've had, this is going to be a test. But then given what usually happens when Equirating's put up a horse that we think might not jump a clear round, they usually
do. It's the reverse curse of the commentator.
The reverse curse. Marcio Carvalho Jorge, he is going very well so far.
And the Brazilians, trained by Sir Mark Todd, and no doubt Sir Mark will have given them a bit of few tips going forward to the show jumping. Things going well so far. The time is looking reasonably tight, and actually he can afford 1 time penalty but not 2 to stay ahead of Alex Bragg and Zagreb. Marcio Jorge for Brazil, Lissy Mac Weyer. The time is going to be influential here, and he jumps clear, but a time penalty. It is enough to keep him in front of Alex Bragg, 41.0, and he goes into the lead in the clubhouse. What a clear round from this man. But let's go and hear from the man who jumped our 3rd clear round. Let's go to Alex and Alice.
Alex, many congratulations. Everyone was willing the fences to stay up, and they did.
Yeah, no, thank God. Hopefully some of that mud just stuck the poles on those top rails. The horse jumped fantastic. It's such a sloping sort of arena. Makes the horses work really hard. And the time is so tight, so you kind of got to hustle on a bit. But he operated for a big horse. He's really supple and athletic, and he did a great job.
I mean, it was like there was a magnetic field around the fences. He was not going to touch one.
Yeah, you know, Dan, a good trainer, Ros Morgan, she's done a super job with us, and just working hard, you know, trying to improve all the time. And you know, when he's got a heart of a lion like that, all you got to do is just make sure I don't make a mistake. And you know, he's great, absolutely great.
And cross country, we're presuming you're going to get out of that start box.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty demanding course. You know, the terrain is tough. So I think just get out, get into a rhythm, not put too much pressure on him, try not to burn him out too soon. But I will have one eye on the clock, because you know, if we're up that end of the leaderboard, you don't want to be seeing the prize money drifting away from you.
We want to see you on that podium. Well done.
Thank you very much, Alice.
Well, such a classy clear round from Alex Bragg. He's second in the Clubhouse at the moment. Our Clubhouse leader for Brazil, Marcio Jorge, he will hold a podium position going forward to the cross country. But which position will it be? 2 left to show jump. The reverse order show jumping means it is drama all the way through. And Bill Levitt, Shannondale Titan, already a fence down.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed with that, and I know Bill works with the same trainer as Alexander Bragg, that's Ros Morgan, and I'm sure she'll be having a word in his ear about having the first one down. She's quite a demanding trainer, but yeah, I think Bill will be disappointed with that.
Actually, that drops him behind Marcio and behind Alex Bragg. So Alex Bragg secures himself a podium place going into the cross country this afternoon. If Bill can just leave it at the 1 pole down, he still has all to play for.
Yeah, it didn't go to plan for Bill and Shannondale Titan and Jardy, but this is looking a lot more on track. And these guys at the top of the leaderboard, they are just pulling it out. That round from Alex Bragg and Marcio as well. Huge round to leave all the show jumps up with just 1 time full. Here is Bill.
Down to the final combination. The time is looking tight. He's just dropped a couple of places on the leaderboard, but he clears the final combination 2 time faults. That is a good round for Bill Levitt for Australia. Shannondale Titan, the Prentice family who own this horse, have been huge supporters of Bill's for many years. He drops a couple of places on the leaderboard. He will be no worse than 5th going forward to the cross country this afternoon. That combination top 10 in Wiesbaden and a huge amount to play for. And let's go down to Alice.
Marcio, you went for it.
Thank you. Again, I'm very happy and very pleased. Lizzie jumped very well today.
Your little mare, she answered every question you put to her.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. Everything I asked her, she did, and she did well.
She really did. We were watching, we're saying, wow, wish we could gallop down as fast as you did to the Land Rover upright. She just was amazing.
yeah, I feel her good in the forward gallop, and I trust on her to maintain this forward gallop for the Land Rover vertical.
Well, listen, you were awesome. Congratulations, you're in pole position.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Marcio, thank you.
Well, we have just the 1 more combination to go. There's Bill Levitt looking cool as a cucumber, as always. Sam, you know Bill very well. He's very unruffled, isn't he?
He is. I mean, he did a super round there. I think he'll be kicking himself that, that he had had the first fence down. But listen, that still keeps him in touch. And, like we're saying all along, that the time on the cross country is going to be very influential. This year they've put in some new loops in on the cross country, so there's still a lot to play for.
So, the leader in the Clubhouse at the moment, Marcio Jorge for Brazil, 41.0. Alex Bragg, our 3rd clear round, sees him sitting in 2nd, 41.6. Ahead of Sir Mark Todd in 3rd at the moment, 44.5. The reverse order show jumping means that we won't know our leader going into the cross country until the very last horse has jumped. The crowd have been piling in here at Gatcombe. The sun is shining. We have a little bit of blue sky. Fingers crossed that is going to continue for the rest of the day, because what can this man do? We are in for a real treat. It was Gatcombe 12 months ago that he really started his 2016 challenge. He won here. He won in Blair. He finished 2nd at Blenheim to take the series title. He needs a similar run of form this year. 38.7 his dressage. He cannot afford a pole down to stay ahead of Marcio Jorge. Will it be Great Britain leading this afternoon, or will it be Brazil?
Do you know, this guy's such a competitor, and he's got a great record around this competition here out in Gatcombe. He's won numerous championships, and he seems to just pick his game up when he comes here. So yeah, he's a real competitor, this man.
Just slipped coming round the corner there.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do, and you saw the elbows come out, and when you see Ollie's elbows come out, you know he's trying pretty hard.
He's an incredibly strong rider, isn't he? Physically, and he's able to recover that situation well.
In terms of show jumping form, Sam, how does Noteworthy shape up?
Well, on paper, we think that this could be a 2 down round, but look at Oliver. He had 2 down at Bergam last weekend. He's had 2 down at Belton earlier this season. But He had one clear round at Burnham Market, and eventually Losey got close to those planks.
So 1 pole down. Brazil will be leading going into the cross country this afternoon, but if he can get through this final combination, and that's going to prove expensive. 2 down. He drops to 5th. That is still close enough in touch with the leaders. 46.7. 2 down for our dressage leader, for Oliver Townend, and noteworthy. And again, we just saw towards the end of the course, like we did with Gemma Tattersall, it can just cause a bit of problems.
I think because the time is such an issue, you've got to push them quite quickly. It flattens out the jump. And particularly like we've talked all along, the planks is like they're on butter, and if you're pushing your horse to try and make the time, then it's mistakes are going to come.
They do, and it is expensive. The pressure is building, but let's go down to Alice.
Wow, Bill, this has been a really tough course.
Yeah, it's Barbari's probably the only one that wasn't really tough. Wiesbaden was tough, Jardy was tough. Saw the first few go and you thought, wow, how are you going to get around there, keep your horse balanced and get inside that time? But I really like the way the ERM have done this, because it makes it really exciting for the viewers, and it makes it a real test of skill and balance and horses' jumping ability. So it makes this phase really influential. So although as hard as it is in there to jump a clear round and get that time, it's certainly, it makes a competition out of all 3 phases.
Your horse jumped super.
He did. I let him down a bit in Jardy where I didn't give him a good ride. So that was the main focus, just to do my part. And to be fair, I've changed a few things since Jardy. Such a long striding horse, he needs to be put together a bit more in front of his fences. And so we did that today, had a little bit more pressure in the rain coming into the fences, and it just helped him with his balance on those front rails. And so, really pleased that, he showed himself on a good light because he is a good jumper on his day.
Good luck on the cross country.
Thank you.
Well, the show jumping has been completed here. Leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters. Let's take a look at how it shapes up. Out in front, Marcio George, Brazil leading the way. But 4 different nations inside the top 4. One of 3 clear rounds for Alex Bragg and Zagreb. He currently sits in 2nd. Kiltubrid Rhapsody, Sir Mark Todd move up from 7th after dressage, and they head up into a podium position. Sarah Cohen and Treason, all about the series points for them, as is for Gemma Tattersall, Arctic Soul. She actually climbs 1 place in the show jumping. That's how influential this phase has been, despite those 2 rails down. Lebowski and Beanie Sturgis, one to keep an eye on this afternoon. Slight disappointment for Shane Rose, CP qualified. The horse perhaps not liking the ground and a round he would rather forget. But Elizabeth Power, Solodoon, she would need a similar form of climb up the leaderboard. But the man that led the dressage, unfortunately not leading into the cross country, but close enough. Let's go and hear from Oliver Townend.
Oliver, you're the most competitive man on the circuit. 2 rails down was not what you were looking for.
No, but it's tough here, and obviously, it's a big ask for an event horse in that ring and the course and the time, so I wouldn't be displeased with him. Had a bit of a slip and that slightly rattled us a little bit, but look, we're still in it and we'll still give it a crack.
You really are. I mean, 38 was your dressage, which gave you a little bit of a buffer. 2 downs put you on 46. Do you think that's close enough?
I hope so. Obviously very good horses and riders, and they're quick enough, but we'll be having a go.
Yeah, you've got good form round here. There's still all to play for.
Let's hope so. Thank you.
Well, the show jumping, it has not been a disappointment. We knew it wasn't going to be a dressage competition here at Gatcombe, leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters, and that has certainly been the case. The show jumping shuffled the leaderboard. Sam Griffiths and Sam Watson from Echo Ratings with me in the studio for that. Let's just take a moment. Echo Ratings got it right with 2 sub 40. They got it right with 3 clear rounds in the show jumping. You're on fire.
Yeah, well, now I have to say we didn't see the exact personalities coming that got the clear rounds, but that's when you look at the big picture of the challenge that Gatcombe presents. Yeah, it made it an easy enough prediction for us, I think, because die body, the Gatcombe ring, the weather, it was always going to be tough. I think that's what the Masters is about. This is the top level of CIC eventing, of the short format eventing. This is the pinnacle.
And Sam, your thoughts on the show jumping when you looked at it this morning was that it was going to be tough. It certainly was. Was it as tough as you expected?
Yeah, I mean, you need a jumper at Gatcombe. and that's just really showing out the undulations of the course, the difficulty trying to warm up, the bit soft going, and let's not forget these are the best horses and riders in the world competing, and so it was a real challenge.
Now, in terms of looking forward to this afternoon, 26 seconds across the country covers the top 10. That sounds like a lot. It's really not at Gatcombe, is it, Sam?
No, I don't think that anyone's going to get within 10 seconds of the time here. So that would be 4 time penalties. 1.2. Nobody made the time here last year. The only leg that nobody made the time in the cross country. So we've got some real speed horses. We saw, I mean, that Gemma Tattersall to have had those 2 fences down so late in the course because she's on such a fast horse, but she's still in it and she is committed. She's the series leader, so she will be going for it. She will be running fast with Arctic Soul, and she'll put pressure on those ahead of her. Oliver Townend, noteworthy. We know how fast Oliver is. He's already won 1 title here this weekend. He loves this track. He is one of the fastest riders in the world around a CIC course.
And in terms of the series points, he needs a strong performance here this weekend.
He really does. Noteworthy can be a little, he can be cheeky out on the cross country as well. So they've only had 2 clear rounds at this level in the last 18 months. So he's got a serious job to do this afternoon. I can't wait to see Alexander Bragg and I think as well Ludwig Schwezensel. It'll be interesting to see what they do because they're going to have to pull out PBs in terms of speed. But I think this occasion and this series, that's what it does to people.
Well, it certainly does, and it will be reverse order cross country this afternoon. But Alice, how exciting was that show jumping?
Nicole, it was mental, wasn't it? Absolutely extraordinary. And I have to say there's some very glum faces around here because there were some cricket scores out there. It was tough. We knew it was going to be tough, and Di Body promised beforehand that she hadn't cut any corners on that. But it's an Event Rider Masters. It's a 3-phase competition, and that is what it's all about. You have to be the best in every phase. Ollie Townend definitely gave me the feel in his interview that he didn't feel that all was lost. He definitely felt he was still in the hunt. Marcio Georges, I spoke to him just before he left, and he said he's not a guy who suffers from nerves. He's never been in this position before. He's never been in pole position going into the final phase, but he says, I've dealt with pressures in my life before, and I'm confident that I can deal with this. So I think we've got still a really exciting competition, and there is no doubt that we will not know the answer as to who is the champion of leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters 2017 until that last horse crosses the line. Nicole, I cannot wait for this afternoon.
It promises to be an incredible climax to leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters in terms of the leg and the series. Before we conclude, Sam, thank you very much for joining us this morning. You've walked the cross country. What were your thoughts?
Again, it's the terrain here. The terrain keeps throwing you and the horse off balance, and then you put in the fact that you're trying to go as fast as you can. There's a championship to win. It's going to be tough, and when you factor that together, people will make mistakes. But listen, I think we're in for a really exciting afternoon.
Sam, can we ask, 1, Echo ratings, I don't think anyone's going to get the time, but 2, who you think could come close?
Well, I think with the last 12 months that this man has had, that this is Alex Bragg's moment. He's pulled it out. Everything has been going the right direction, and I think we will see the best cross-country round that they've produced. They had a superb Aachen, and he just seems to be in such a good place mentally as well, and he'll want to prove a point as well, and that's great motivation too. So, but I can't emphasize what a dramatic afternoon this is going to be, because there's going to be penalties. I think scoreboards are going to be put under pressure. People with pens and pencils and typing in numbers. It's all going to be going on. Speed is going to be so crucial.
Sam, from a rider's perspective, if you know the time is going to be tight, it's basically you've got to go as fast as you can. Do you almost forget about the watch and just go, I'm just going to ride what's underneath me?
Well, like Sam was saying, this place is notorious for not being able to make your time. You want to keep your watch so you know what time you're coming in on, but it is very much go as fast as you can. And it's not going to be easy. They've put in some new loops in onto the course that will really slow you down. So time will be a real issue.
Can I ask who you think is going to win?
I'm going to go along with Sam. I think Alex Bragg, particularly his form at Aachen. Aachen's a seriously tough course. Obviously, the terrain's a whole lot flatter than Gatcombe. But you know, you can never underestimate guys like Ollie and Mark Todd. They've both won the championship here, and you know, they're such competitors. But I think it could be Alex's day.
I have to say, I think it's going to be Alex Bragg's day as well. But who will win leg 5 of the Event Rider Masters? All of the cross-country action, all of the behind-the-scenes action will be unfolding this afternoon. We go live at 2 o'clock. We expect it to be an absolute spectacle of the best of equestrian sport we could ask for. We hope that you can join us. 2 o'clock, we'll see you there.
Trust is dangerous and all-consuming.